Hi guys. Now, first, a big apology for the huge delay in getting back on with the series in Daniel that we've been going through. Hopefully you saw my spoken word. If you didn't, then please watch. I'm hoping to do some more spoken word as soon as possible, to be honest, because I absolutely loved it. I was so scared beforehand, like performing live, because it's nothing I've done before. But now it's something that I really, really feel that God wants to use, and something that I want to continue in doing. So I'm back with the Daniel series, and we're in Daniel chapter 6, Daniel and the Lion's Den. And yeah, if you haven't kind of been following any of the others, then please do take a look at Daniel chapters 1 to 5 and kind of catch up. And in we go with Daniel chapter 6. So, basically, to summarise the story, Daniel is promoted. He is becoming this distinguished guy amongst the presidents and all of the other people, and we'll talk a bit more about that. And basically, a lot of the other people that surrounded King Darius at the time, they suggested that the king should make this document signed by everyone, saying that no one should worship any other god or anything other than the king for 30 days. Just so that they can just, I guess, pour out everything, all of their honour and glory and worship to the king. And the king agrees and has it signed. Daniel finds out that this has been signed, and he goes to worship God. He goes into his room with the windows wide open and thanks and praises God unashamedly. People find out about this, they report it back to the king and say, "You've signed this document." And the king, quite reluctantly, has Daniel thrown into the lion's den. And no harm comes to Daniel whatsoever. And Daniel is freed and released and glorifies God. And there's so much learning in that, and that's such a brief summary of the story. I do suggest that you read Daniel chapter 6, but just to pull out a couple of key points. The first key point is this thing that's spoken about in verse 3. It says, then this Daniel became distinguished above all the other presidents and satraps because an excellent spirit was in him. And I guess that's just something to think about with regards to us, like an excellent spirit. What does an excellent spirit look like? And this is promotion in just everyday work. This isn't necessarily promotion in spiritual matters and in ministry and things like that. This is promotion in what he was doing. He trusted God, and that was seen in the world. It wasn't that he trusted God behind closed doors and was this openly devout religious person behind closed doors, and as soon as he came to work and came into contact with people, it was different. He openly praised and worshipped God with his lifestyle, and that excellent spirit showed. And that's something that I think we can take away when we're in school, at work, wherever we are. Like, does our spirit look excellent? Are we doing things out of that excellent spirit? And that's definitely something for me to think about at work, because sometimes the answer would definitely be no, and it's something that I really feel that God would work on us with. We need to be Jesus in places that don't know him, and that's what Daniel was, and that got everybody's attention. Daniel knew this document had been signed, and he went and praised God. And the king, when everyone sort of went back and said, "Oh, can you believe it? Daniel's done this, Daniel's been praising God," the king was very, very hesitant and reluctant about throwing Daniel in the lion's den. And I think there's another point of learning there, and that one is that sometimes people in authority, you will get their attention more by standing up for something that you believe in, not just out of foolishness and stupidity, but something that you genuinely believe in. If you can I suppose, back that up and talk about why you're doing what you're doing, if it maybe goes against what they would suggest, that can get people's attention and that can open people's ears up to listen. And Darius the king, he was reluctant to throw Daniel in the lion's den because he almost had this understanding of Daniel's God. He knew what Daniel was about. He knew that Daniel wasn't just this kind of stubborn, rebellious guy for the sake of it. He knew that Daniel had a purpose for doing what he was doing, and he wasn't just being rude. And we see that in verse 14. Then the king, when he heard these words, was distressed and set his mind to deliver Daniel, and he laboured till the sun went down to rescue him. And then obviously we see the lion's den happened and Daniel wasn't harmed, and that leads into the last point, which is God's favour is on God's children. It's as simple as that. We've seen that through the story of Daniel time and time again, but here it clearly says a stone was brought and laid on the mouth of the den, and the king sealed it with his own signet. So basically nothing can go into that lion's den. That is sealed. That is it. Daniel's on his own. But something that the king does say is, may your God whom you serve continually deliver you. And that's exactly what happens. And the king is really happy after this, and just declares again just how faithful Daniel is. And it's just Daniel's positioning in all of that was just so trusting of God, so not fearing man, so not honouring man above God. But as a last point, and I know that I'm quite late over, we're in like 7 minutes now, but I haven't vlogged for ages, so we can just use that as an excuse. Yeah, the last point I guess I just wanted to close with is the fact that Daniel, his character, he still honours the king. If this was me, I might be thinking, it's all very well that you said, may God serve me continually, but you still threw me in a lion's den. But verse 21, Daniel said to the king, O king, live forever. My God sent his angel and shut the lions' mouths. They have not harmed me. And he still honours those in authority, like the word tells us to do. So that last kind of point, he still honours the king, despite the fact that the king had to make that difficult decision. So that's just some little points that come out of Daniel chapter 6, but I do encourage you to read it, do encourage you to subscribe, like, and just continue to follow my channel for more updated vlogs more regularly, I promise. Thanks very much for tuning in, guys. God bless. Bye.